Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Candice.
I'm Court, and today we are talking about 5 lessons that we've learned from van life. We've probably learned a lot more than 5.
Yeah, for real.
But we've distilled
These are
them
the
down.
top.
Yes.
Top 5.
Exactly.
I just did this, like 10, but it's only 5.
Just
only 5. Don't worry, guys.
Oh my God. So for context, we've been living in our van named Luna for a year and a half. That has primarily been in one spot. We're actually on property. We will be traveling again very soon, which we're very excited about. But for context, these are all lessons we've learned being in one spot. Still relevant to living in a very small space.
However, we did travel from Canada to America. So some of these lessons are definitely lessons we've learned along
On the road. Yes, very much so. If patience is in here somewhere, that was probably number 1.
Patience in it all.
Yes.
It's in all the lessons.
Yeah. So diving into lesson number 1, and that is that van life gets to be your way. You get to define what van life means for you. And I think this is super important because more for me than for Candice when we were first looking into doing van life and, you know, checking all the Facebook groups and all the websites and just, you know, everything. I had the idea of like van life means we have to like get rid of everything and, you know, like literally live in a van with 1 fork, 1 spoon, you know, and a bed. And she's like, that's not happening. And
you don't know me, baby, if you think that. And I guys, like I literally downsized a lot, 14 years of stuff. And I got it down to like just the essentials and things that I love. So I did really well, but I was still like, babe, we're going to need a U-Haul, like a small, like trailer U-Haul, but like, we're going to need to like rent a storage space.
To be clear, when she says U-Haul, we were moving from Canada to California. So a U-Haul on the back of our SUV, not a U-Haul on our van. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, we
got our van with a U-Haul.
Yeah.
I just pictured that.
Fair enough.
Anyway, but when we moved to California, we decided to get a storage unit and we had a U-Haul. So it's like, okay, what's in the U-Haul? Why do we have so much stuff? But it was things like surfboards, snowboards, bikes, 2 Rubbermaids full of tools, you know, that we use to build the van that we're going to be using to build the bus, camping gear, festival gear for Burning Man, like all kinds of stuff that it's like for our life and things that bring us joy and pleasure. We need this stuff, you know, and it's totally fine with us that it doesn't fit in the van and we have a storage unit. And just giving ourselves that permission to be like, cool, we're in van life on one spot. That's totally fine. We're going to travel with van life again. That's amazing. We have a storage unit to do it. That's awesome. We have a home base. Like we get to have van life look like what we want it to look like. So if anyone out there is thinking about van life, if this is like giving you a giant permission slip, let us know in the comments, because I know some of the like van life Facebook groups can be really like trying to get awards for minimalism, you know, of how little stuff can you have. And it's okay if you want to have some stuff. It doesn't make you some like materialistic, greedy asshole, you know? It just means
your own way.
You're doing it your own way.
Yeah.
So that's our first thing. No one's winning awards for minimalism around here, and we're okay with that.
Our second lesson is living simply doesn't mean that you're free from clutter.
Oh my God,
for real, like, you know, living in a tiny space, it takes like 3.5 things to feel like you're living in clutter. If anybody has, sorry. Very expressive with my hands apparently today. But this is me trying to like create space. No, but like for real, like if you've ever been in a smaller space, doesn't matter if you've lived in a tiny home or a camper van, you can feel it energetically, right? Like if there's few things and that there's that clutter, that's why like Feng Shui is a thing. It's like it really does create energy flow. So when that's like hindering it definitely, you can feel it. So we're constantly being very intentional about clearing the space. Every little thing has its home for a reason. That's why we have like a storage. Well, we have storage that we mentioned, but we also have a shed. It's amazing. That is something that we use as a walk-in closet, which is a game changer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're on property in one spot. So we were like, why don't we build out an epic home base here to travel to and from? And that epic home base includes a 7x7 walk-in closet.
Again, it gets to be your way, right? Like for us, that works. And especially because we want to be on the road eventually, that we can keep things stored there and we only have to take what we need when we're on the road in the camper van. And it's just like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, I love the clutter point because I think, you know, I remember when you were downsizing everything and you were like, oh, I just can't wait to like get rid of all this and like live minimally in the van. It'll feel so spacious. And I think I've dealt with some small space before, like traveling in different situations. And so I kind of already knew this and I was like, okay, we'll see. And then it was like very quickly living. It's like, oh my God, as you said, it takes almost nothing to feel cluttered because it's such a small space. Even if you have very few possessions, if they're not in their homes,
right,
you're like,
yeah,
oh my
you
God.
gotta be on it.
Yeah.
And you just, another lesson, I think a part of that is just like kind of flowing with it. Instead of like getting so agitated. It's easy to feel that way, but it's like feel the emotion. But then, you know, I guess it's really great that, you know, we live in nature so we can step out, feel that expansiveness, that room. And then, of course, like take the time to put things in their home.
Yep.
You know, and be on it. So
you don't have the chair anymore.
You
just leave
like,
everything.
You guys know the chair we were talking about in your home that you put all your shit on. Everybody has that chair.
Everyone's got a chair.
I feel like, or something like that, like a corner in your room or whatever. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, when you do that in a van, it's like, well, 2 minutes later, that is also your work table, your kitchen, everything. You're like, fuck.
Yeah. Doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Chair's gone.
Speaking of putting things away, I think the third thing that we've learned, our third lesson, is that everything takes more time in van life.
Yeah, for
like,
real.
It doesn't matter if we're talking about how we have to Tetris pack our clothes, our dishes, anything in storage, you know, anything put away. Like, everything has its spot, but it's usually like nested and like, you know, you have to fit a lot of things in a small spot. So even just getting out dishes to cook, you often have to like take things out and, you know, unnest it all. And I mean, what else? Like for doing dishes, like again, on property, we have a sink here that we can do our dishes at, but we have to put all our dishes in a wagon, take them to another building. And when we're on the road, we've got, you know, Rubbermaid containers where it's like wash in one and rinse in the other. And you can't just throw shit in a dishwasher, you know, it's like permanent camping. Right. We do have a sink in the van, but it's like this big. So even though in theory we can use it to wash dishes, it would take so long.
Yeah. Well, and then we just haven't really used the plumbing yet, but I think eventually we probably will. We haven't needed to. When we moved from Canada to here in Southern California, we moved in winter, so we actually had antifreeze put into the piping so it wouldn't freeze and break. Yeah. So we haven't really done anything with it, but eventually we probably will.
So we did camping style when it was still like 10 degrees outside, and we were like, oh, you know. Yeah, it's better in summer. But yeah, so like everything basically just takes more time and we just have to accept it or resist it, kind of like everything in van life. Totally. And so it's like, you know, build it in, like we chose this life, we can be annoyed by it or we can just flow with it. Yeah. So, yeah. That was number 3? That was 3.
4 is bumping into each other. For real. God. It's a thing. It is a thing that you will just like learn to navigate, and then it just becomes a kind of like a dance, you know? I feel like sometimes, oh my gosh, it's not even just bumping into each other, it's like bumping into things, you know? Like it doesn't, navigating small space, even like, I mean, you become more like spatially aware. And at the same time, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've like hit my head off of something where I'm just like, you know, just trying to do something and it's like, fuck, you know, like you hit your head or your arm or whatever, something. And it's just, it's kind of a part of living again in a small space that you just kind of like learn to accept and perhaps maybe grow a better awareness of things.
But it's been a year and a half. We still run into shit.
Yeah, it is just a part of the process. I think it's like just kind of accepting it and sometimes just like learning to laugh at it versus getting really frustrated. Because I mean, what is frustration going to do? It's probably only going to perpetuate the problem even more.
I mean, don't get us wrong. We like totally curse sometimes, like, goddamn small space. But
Yeah,
then we're like,
just to move through the energy of it. But I mean, who doesn't like bump? I'm like totally that person that like bumps something, like knocks something, you know, like you hurt yourself and it's like, I've gotta like, I'm just like, leave me alone. Like I need to curse. I need to move that energy through, and then I'm good. Like
I used to always be like, I'd be like, "Are you okay? Can I help you?" And she's like, "Don't
nurture
me.
Like, just let me fucking deal with my
deal
shit.
with the pain." Okay. Oh, but I'd like to say the bumping in thing is because of having two people in a small space. But even when only one of us is home, I'll like run into stuff, or you'll run into stuff. It's a tiny space. So it happens.
You'll get used to it ish.
Oh my god, yeah.
You'll slowly learn to accept it.
Yes.
It's a part of the.
But a tip if you do have a partner is take physical space away from each other, because sometimes the annoyance of literally like bumping into each other trying to do things, you're like, oh my god, you're like in my space.
I think the worst is probably during the winter, like when you just don't have the space to get outside. I think that for us was probably the biggest challenge, because that's when you're just like you know, COVID, obviously, that's a thing where it's like, you know, maybe we don't get out way from each other, but we get out into nature. So, I mean, I feel like that does change your physiology.
Totally.
What's number 5?
All right. Number 5 is basically having a deep why for what we're doing. Like we have to consistently, I wouldn't say like consistently, but through our challenges, consistently remind ourselves of why we're doing this, because van life is not easy. And like anyone who says it is probably lying. I'm not saying it's always hard or that it's not amazing, but like it does take more tenacity than say just living in an apartment or living in a house, you know, like you don't have a dishwasher, you have like just all these, it's like such a random out of all the things, but that's one. I hate doing dishes. So, but you've got all these little challenges that are just more so than typical living. And if we didn't have a deeper why to doing van life, we probably would have been like, screw this a long time ago. Yeah. When challenges came up.
Totally. And if you don't know, our deeper why is that we are looking to purchase a full-size school bus by the end of the year and converting it into a traveling hostel called the Wonderbus. So exciting. So that's really for both of us. I mean, in our own way and collectively, when we have felt really challenged, keep rooting into that bigger vision for ourselves, and that has been the biggest motivator to keep us on track.
Totally.
You know,
because I mean, we know that bus life is going to have challenges too, probably even way more, you know,
for sure.
But it's like that was the whole reason we decided to do van life, was to live in a van on property while we build the bus. And so it's taken some time, you know, to get going, but we're super excited. And so when sometimes we're like, fuck small space, whether we hit something or whether we just miss having a bathtub.
Oh my god.
Miss bath. Or like just having a couch that you don't feel like you're at IKEA assembling furniture to sit down. Like we've got the table and the bench seats that turn into the second bed, you know, like total RV style. We built that in and it's great, but sometimes you just want to like lay on a couch without having to rearrange it all, you know. Although I'm very happy our bed is permanently a lofted bed. I would be so annoyed if we had to like make our bed every night. That would suck. I couldn't do that.
But either way, it's finding your deeper why, and that definitely has been such an anchor for us when we've found that we've been most challenged. So those are the 5 reasons, or lessons rather, top lessons that we've learned in
van life thus far. And we will probably have 5 new ones once we start traveling again and we remember what life on the road is like. So stay tuned for that. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and let us know in the comments what you've learned from van life, because it's different for all of us. Or if any of this hit home, we'd love to know and hear from you. And of course, if you want to hang out with us more,
subscribe.
That subscribe button somewhere around here. I don't
Probably
remember,
somewhere. but also, what was I gonna say?
New videos come out every Thursday.
That's it.
1 o'clock.
She's on it. 1 p.m. PST.
Every Thursday. We will see you there. Have an amazing week until then. And if you're doing van life, enjoy.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Ciao.